Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be looking at another new update from Mark Williams Thomas, because apparently we can expect the podcast in a matter of days, and everyone is trying to find out who Josh Forshaw actually is. Also, Brad said Jay went off-road while they were on call, but that's impossible if the call was at 7:30. Plus, it was suggested that some of the witnesses didn't show up to the inquest because illegal substances were involved. So the first thing that we are going to look at is the phone call with Brad, because in the inquest, it stated that Brad spoke to Jay at 7:30 in the morning. Now what we got told from Brad is that he saw Jay going off-road because they were on a video call and he could hear Jay sliding on stones. But how can that be true if Jay was seen at 7:50 by the two Spanish witnesses and he asked about the bus times? What you have to remember is that these are official details from the inquest, and it has literally exposed Brad's interview, because if Jay went off-road at 7:30 and asked two people about the times at 7:50, then that means when Jay was speaking to these witnesses, they were all in the mountains together. So as you can see, it clearly doesn't make sense, which does raise a few questions. First of all, why did Brad tell us that he saw Jay going off-road? It's like they had to make sure the narrative was that Jay went into the mountains on his own and that he chose to do it. The next thing that we are going to look at is who Josh Forshaw is, because recently people have been trying to work out who he actually is. So what we do have is an Instagram account that goes by the name Josh Forshaw 078, and the interesting part is that Brad is following this account. So could this be the Josh that gave evidence through a video link at the inquest? Also, there is a picture that was posted on TikTok, but when I went to look at the account, his picture was taken down, and Brad doesn't follow him anymore, so I don't know what's happened there. But could there be some problems going on between Josh and Brad? Also, it would be good to find out who Josh is, because if you remember at the start, there was a Scottish guy who videoed Jay, and his name was Josh, but he claimed that he didn't even realize he was filming Jay and didn't know him at all. Many people have suggested that it could be the same Josh, but without knowing anything about him, we can't find the answer out. What we are going to look at next is another new update from Mark Williams Thomas, and he says that we will find out everything within a matter of days.
Seen that I've posted two videos recently in relation to Jay Slater, and those videos have attracted a lot of attention, not just in regards to social media platforms, but also in the national media. I've commented in regards to some of the evidence that I've got. I've not put it all out there yet, but I do think it now needs to go out there. So we're working really hard. We're flat out to put together on our own expense the two podcasts. So this is part one, part two podcast, which will be coming out very soon. I can't give you a date yet, but it will be within a matter of a number of days. And it will give you the full insight in terms of Jay's investigation. And one of the things I want to really cover is the issues of other people's theories about what happened to Jay. I think it's really important we hear what other people have got to say, but it's also important other people then listen to the responses to that and consider it and think, actually, do you know what? Yes, that makes more sense, or the evidence is there to support that. So I'm putting it out there. Why don't you come back to me if you have followed the Jay Slater case and give me your view as to why you do not believe that Jay Slater's death was a tragic accident. And I'll tell you why. I wouldn't normally do this. I wouldn't normally give airtime to those people who have got conspiracy theories, different thoughts in terms of where the evidence is pointing. But I'll tell you why it's important, because I think we need to, in today's society, it's changed massively, where social media has a huge bearing. We need to respond to those, we need to dispel them, we need to get rid of them. We need to show that there is evidence to say that it can't possibly be true. I watched a video yesterday of an individual, I won't name him, who was coming out with the most, uncommon sense, but also absolute rubbish. What he was saying couldn't possibly be true, but he was getting a lot of support. People going, oh yeah, that's absolutely right. No. And one of the things that really annoys me is that we're dealing with people here. Jay's got a family and they still watch social media. They cover and follow what people are saying. And when you've got people out there saying these things, it's so hurtful, it's so unkind. So if you've got a view, come back to me, tell me what it is. And in my podcast, I will respond and deal with some of those. I'll put them out there and say, it can't be this because of this, and clear some of them up. Ultimately, I'm not going to change everyone's views. There are still people out there who believe black is white, and you're never going to change that view. But hopefully some people out there will consider a bit more carefully in terms of what they're saying. Plus also, the truth will be out there in terms of that can't possibly be true because of this. So let me know what your
So Mark says that the podcast will be coming out very soon, and we can see what evidence he has and what he was told by the friends. Hopefully, we do get to see all the evidence, including the recordings from all the interviews that he did, because if Mark is going to share everything, then he needs to do exactly that and not leave bits out, because if he wants to have the slightest chance at changing anyone's mind, he needs to release everything he has. Obviously, this is something that we have been waiting for, and it's been months since Mark said he had all this information, so it's finally going to come out, which is good news. Also, you heard what Mark said. If any of you guys want to ask him anything personally, send him a message and see if you actually get an answer. Because I'm sure all of you have questions that you want answering, and if Mark has said that he's willing to answer them, then send him a message and see if he answers. Which I'm not sure about because it's Mark, and I'm sure he has thousands of messages to reply to every day. But it's worth a try. The last thing that we are going to look at is where it was suggested that some of the witnesses didn't show up because drugs were involved, and normally when illegal substances are involved in a death, people don't want to speak to the authorities. The thing is, with Jay's case, he had to get the stuff he was using from somewhere, so whoever gave it to him could have been charged in connection with his death. So nobody was going to come forward and say they gave Jay drugs that night. But the problem is, it's a lot deeper than that, because illegal substances could be the reason behind what actually happened to Jay. At the end of the day, a lot of information was released at the inquest, and something dodgy was going on while Jay was in Tenerife. Plus, none of his friends turned up to the inquest for a reason. They didn't just all have holidays booked. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will update you as we find out more.